Good afternoon and welcome to the FAAE Arts Integration Webinar Series. We are delighted that you're with us today. Dr. Enrique Puy is here with me in the Morgridge International Reading Center at the University of Central Florida, and we're looking forward to tonight's session on the arts and iPad technology. Our special guests today are coming to us all the way from the Idaho Charter School of the Arts. And you're seeing a picture of Jackie Collins, who is the Executive Director and Principal of the Idaho Charter School. And they are so fortunate to have her because she is a real visionary leader for arts education. So Jackie and team, we are delighted that you're here with us. And before I introduce our other guests, I'm going to ask Jackie to tell us a little bit about the Idaho Charter School that she founded. So Jackie, please talk to us a little bit.
Well, good afternoon, and it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting us. We've been in existence for about 9 years, and we're a K-12 arts integrated school, and we have grown from about 400 students up to almost 800 over those 9 years. And we bring the arts to an area in the community that really doesn't have a lot of arts, and it's really a high poverty area. And so for these children to be able to not only learn through the arts, but to experience the arts through hands-on piano and art and dance and so forth, it's just a really great experience for them. So we have a lot of fun every day, and we use a lot of technology in our building and in our classrooms, and so we're just real thrilled to share with you some of the things that we're doing.
Well, and we are thrilled to be hearing about those things, and I know that there will be people in our audience who have some questions and comments and that they would like to share. On the screen it says please go to chat to share with us, but the system has changed slightly since I wrote that earlier today, and go to the area that says questions, and we will be monitoring your questions or your comments, and we want to hear from you, so please engage with that feature, and we'll have a chance to talk to you as well. And I want to say how delighted I am with the variety that we have here in our audience today. Jackie, I want you to know that we have people from not only all over Florida, but from as far away as British Columbia, Canada, and also we have got some friends from Utah have joined us today, so we're really delighted to have an audience from around our continent, actually. So welcome to all of these guests that are with us. We're going to start by hearing from Valerie Mantle, who is the visual arts specialist at the elementary and middle school, and Valerie is going to be sharing with us some exciting information about the work that she's doing. And then a little later we're going to hear from Jan Jorgensen, who is a middle school English teacher, and she's the arts director at the school. So this already shows us that at the Idaho Arts Charter School there really is this collaboration among the arts teachers and the non-arts teachers that we know is so incredibly important to arts integration. So Jackie, Jan, and Valerie, thank you so much for being with us, and we're going to let Valerie take it away right now. So Valerie, welcome.
Hi, I'm Valerie Mantle, and I teach 1st through 8th grade art at Idaho Arts Charter School. And when we first got iPads, it was about 2 years ago, and the teachers were the first ones to receive them. And as soon as I got my iPad, I knew this was going to be the tool that was going to help me to teach my young kids how to make art digitally. So when I first got my iPad, I started playing around with some different apps, and I tried lots of them. And the one that I really settled on that I thought was the best app for younger kids was Sketchbook Express. And it has a lot of the same kind of tools that they'll use when they're older, when they're doing graphic design, like if they're using Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. And if you'll go to, I think, the next slide, it gives some illustrations of some of the tools that are available in Sketchbook Express. It has tools for creating layers, there we go. It has a really nice color wheel. It has customizable brushes and pens. It has a layering tool. You can add text to an image. So these are just some screenshots of some of the app on the iPad and all the different tool menus that are available within the program. And it really sets kids up, young kids up, to be able to use more sophisticated digital artwork programs when they get into high school. On the next screen, these are some images of the first project that I did when we first got the iPads with middle school kids. And I think we have I think you guys have access to our website, and there's a video on our website that shows the first class that we taught this to, and it has some feedback from the kids about things that they learned. They used the layers tool, they used the different brushes, they customized their color wheel, they customized their brushes and created these self-portraits in the program. And the next couple slides show some different examples of middle school work. These are their first time that they've created art digitally and the first time they've used iPads, most of them.
I love that layering on this slide, Valerie. Wow, this is really cool looking.
Considering these are projects that this is the first time they've made digital art, and this is the first time they've used the iPads. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. They taught me things about the app that I didn't know. You know, you put a technology in a kid's hands, and they'll find out things that you never knew it could do.
Exactly. This is where they live, so you're in the right place. Yeah. Wow. Right. Well,
so these are middle school. Yeah, these are middle school kids, and these are some of the kids. This is some of our middle school kids using the iPads.
They look very engaged.
Yeah, the room gets very quiet when you get out the iPads, that's for sure.
Yeah, and
so then,
what a terrific looking art room you have too. It looks great.
Yeah, well, that's actually the one is actually the English class, the one with the boy in the orange shirt. He's using the program in English, and the other picture is our high school. My colleague who teaches high school art and our high school art room.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I love how the English teacher has the artwork, the student artwork on display. Beautiful.
Yeah. So then once I taught it to my middle school kids, I wanted to see, you know, is this going to be a meaningful program for younger kids? Are they going to be able to handle all the tools and be able to create meaningful work? So I took the iPads to my first and second grade students. And this is a picture of a first grade boy. I created a lesson where they drew butterflies. They had been working on poetry and symbolism in poetry. So they did these digital paintings of butterflies, and they used all the tools. They used the layers. They customized their tools. They customized their brushes. They learned to use the really pretty sophisticated color wheel. And I believe the next few slides are some examples of these are first grade girls, and they're working on their butterflies. And from this one, I don't know if you can tell, but if you can see that she's blowing up the image and working in really fine detail in the wings of the butterfly, and learning about symmetry and when to turn the symmetry tool on and off so that they can make a really unique butterfly. And she's probably got 3 layers open there that she's working on. And
yes. Now we've got a question for you, Valerie. Go ahead, Enrique.
Valerie, we have a question from Michelle up in the Florida Panhandle. And in the primary grades, have you seen is there a correlation between the iPad and students reading or desire to read?
Well, that would be a question that you would probably more apt to get a good answer from one of the classroom teachers. But we do have reading apps and kids, and we've had some and I do know this, that we've had some struggling readers and some lower readers who have been using some of their reading apps and iBooks to read, and it's and that they're more willing to read and less sort of turned off by reading when they're able to use that technology for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that is where they live, isn't it? Wow, this is a vibrant one.
Yeah, so these are some of the examples of the butterflies that they created. This one you can see the different layers because she did some overspray. And you can also see how they use different tools and customize those tools to make the different qualities of line.
Love it.
And that's another example. I think there's 3 or 4 examples. That's the one that you saw the girl working on where she did really minute detail within the butterfly.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Maybe a ninja butterfly.
They're using their whole color palette, aren't they? Wow.
Yeah, well, then they're excited by that, being able to create all the different colors, to be able to really, choose the color. And also, this particular app has a color cloning tool that I showed them how to use, so that you can go, when you've used a color, if you want to find that color again, how to go back and clone it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's actually a pretty amazing that they are able to do that. In fact, well, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but a first grader showed me how to use it.
That's great. I'm very much in the idea that we are learning together. The students and the teachers are learning together. You have things to bring, but the kids have things to bring. And I think that's a wonderful thing, Valerie. Now, we've got another question for you before we go on.
Valerie, I have another question from Oscar, and he wants to know, each one of these illustrations or paintings, is it done within a class period or over a certain time period?
These actually took, it probably took us about, with a 50-minute class period, it probably took us 2 class periods to learn all the functions. And I have a really kind of a step-by-step lesson where we learn each function, each tool, and then it probably took another 2 class periods for them to be able to create their butterflies. So probably about 4 hours of labor is what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Ooh.
And then we actually created a permanent artwork with these. I printed them on a color printer, and I think after this, the next slide shows the finished artwork with their collaborative poem. So
tell us about how they created the poem.
Well, that they had some, the poem was themselves. The butterflies are symbols of themselves and their experience in learning and being in the classroom. And they brainstormed together as a class the language, the words bounding, creating, coloring, composing, and they talked about action words, what are some things that we do, and how can we compare ourselves to butterflies. And then they had a sort of a template, and they worked with the teacher to plug those words into the template to create the poem. And so it was a classroom. The one poem was a classroom project.
Nice. That looks really lovely.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Enrique has another question.
I have another question from Pat. First, Valerie, she says she loves this. And how long does it take for the students to master this, that they can take it on their own?
In those 4 hours, those 4 one-hour sessions, probably 5 to completely finish up, and then some other things. That was the only exposure that they had to iPads that year. And then in the you'll see at the end there are some other pictures, and we'll get there eventually. But this year, as third graders, they had an assignment in their technology class that this whole group of students who had done this project, when it came to drawing a picture, to create a picture to go with this technology unit, they all wanted to use Sketchbook Express. And they and they remembered it from last year, and they were able to just jump right on the iPads and create these illustrations for their stories that they wrote in technology class.
Love
and we'll
it.
see a couple of those at the end of class. So they've mastered it.
Love it. Great. Well, let's go on and see about another project that you've been working on.
So these are actually colored pencil drawings. I was teaching value to my middle school kids, and they worked with photographs that they had taken of themselves in black, and I printed them out in black and white. And these are actually two of the better ones. I should have put a couple of the not better ones, because they, for the most part, I found my students really struggled with being able to recognize value changes in a photograph and be able to sort of recreate that on a flat surface. Where are the darker areas? Where are the lighter areas? Where are those little subtle changes in value? So I thought, you know what, we're going to use the iPads, and we're going to use that color cloning tool. And so if you go to the next images are some examples. What they had to do was they had to find a photograph on the internet. And then they had the photograph in one layer. And then they had to use that color cloning tool and find all the different values and all the different little subtle little color changes that happen in a photograph and paint over that to create a digital painting of their photograph. And so the next few, and these are, you know, some of them look kind of unfinished. These represent many hours of labor, because once they started looking at it through the eyes of you know, a computer looking at it digitally, they realized there are just you know, infinite value changes and color changes within a photograph, and they were so particular about, I've got to get it just exactly right. And these are really, I mean, I'm impressed. I don't know about you guys, but the work that they put into these is just incredible.
And these are lovely pieces. This is really, it is impressive. You should be proud of it, Valerie.
So these are, I think, yeah, these are probably about 5 or 6 hours of work that they put in before. And then the semester was over, and they all went on to another class. So some of them didn't get finished. But
now, before we leave this section, Enrique has another question for you.
Okay.
Valerie, if you didn't have a 50-minute period and you had a 30-minute time block, how would you handle it?
Well, I think that if you only had, and I've done this in 30-minute time blocks with younger kids, is you have to front load it with a whole bunch of training in procedures. This is how you come into class. This is how you get your iPad. This is how you find your program. And if you really, you know, front load it with lots of procedural training, then they are able to come in right away and use those 30 minutes to put those 30 minutes to good use and get some incredible work done in those, because they want to. They can't wait to come in and get their hands on that iPad. And if they know exactly, you know, how to come into class, how to get their iPad, where they sit, where the program is, get it going, get it turned on, get to work, they can do a lot in 30 minutes.
That's good to know, because it is true that many schools do have 30 minutes to work with, and so great. Well, let's go to 3rd and 4th grade technology.
Okay, so this is the class. This is the thing that our technology coach, Andy Arnold, she taught they created online superheroes. These were these characters with special powers that would help kids be safe on the internet. So they created these characters, and then they started drawing pictures of them, but then they were doing other things. They were writing a story and sharing their stories online. So they're like, hey, can we do our pictures on the iPads too? And they knew exactly where Sketchbook Express was. They knew the app. They knew how to use it, and they just opened it and started doing these incredible artworks. And I think the next one shows the one sort of finished artwork.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, there he is.
It's terrific. It's terrific, and it shows the imagination and the ideas that are coming into their minds with this experience that you're giving them. Love it. We love it. Great.
Well, and my feeling is that a kid if they pick that medium up on their own and that's their choice, I'm going to use watercolor, or I'm going to use colored pencil, or I'm going to use Sketchbook Express, that's really a sign of that they've mastered that particular medium.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm very happy to see that they made that choice.
Well, that is great. Now, are you carrying on here with creativity and innovation, or are we switching?
I think this is going to be Jan Jorgensen.
Okay, Jan. Wait, I'm sorry. Before we let you go, Valerie, I'm going to put the ninja back up here, and Enrique has another question that he'd like to ask.
Okay. Valerie, this question is from Pat again. Where did you get the procedural training materials?
Well, I did it. I wrote it. I invented it myself. I came up with a procedure that would really streamline that each student has an assigned iPad. The iPads are in a cart where they're all clearly numbered. We went through how to plug them in, how to unplug them, how to carry them, how to open them, how to set them down on the table, and we just drilled it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
because it is so true, you have to have those things in place. And Enrique has another thought here.
Do you have those directions anywhere in print online?
No, but I could provide it.
That'd be great.
That's something.
That'd be great.
Okay.
We can share it. We'll put it out on the FAAE website, and then people can take a look at it. So, yes, and we're already getting thank you notes here from our audience. So, great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's go on to creativity and innovation, and we're going to hear from Jan Jorgensen, who's doing dual duty out there in Idaho as the middle school middle school English teacher as well as the arts director. So, Jan, take it away. Welcome.
Hello. How is everyone doing?
Excellent.
Good, good. So I get to talk to you about creativity and innovation, not only in the regular arts classroom, but in English. And I also teach middle school drama, too. So
fantastic.
Yes, thank you. So if you want to go on to the next slide, I have 8th grade and 7th grade also, and we did a really great PO collaboration, and we had the whole secondary school collaborated on doing an Edgar Allan Poe night. And so with ours, we did our collaboration with technology by filming and using our iPads to film different sections of movement and movement to some music that orchestra provided. So it was a live orchestral piece that our kids interpreted the text with. So
wow.
It was really, really pretty great fun. I loved it a lot. So the first thing, of course, we did was read the text, and then they had to have an understanding of that text. With that, we broke into groups, and they had to go through the different parts as far as what part they were going to actually perform. So we went ahead and you could actually watch that. There's a Poe app that you can get for the iPad, which is really creepy. And so if you go to that app, you would have an opportunity to see some of those. I think on the next slide, possibly.
Yes, it is creepy.
There it is. It's very creepy. So the top left is he actually shakes on the app. You can read the story in that part. He actually shakes, and of course he's got the eye. And the other part on the bottom part is that body is all together, and then if you touch it, the pieces come apart, which is really interesting to an 8th grader, I promise you.
Yeah. That's very cool. The things we can do with technology, huh?
I know. It's just great fun.
It's fantastic.
It was really great fun. So then we, once we got our plan together, you could see that that's the part in our textbook, the Telltale Heart. And then the next little picture on this slide is a practice group. And then the other two pictures are us actually performing on stage. You can't see it very well, but the orchestra is in the background on the stage. So they're back behind us as we're performing. I shouldn't even say we. I'm not performing, they definitely are performing.
Yeah, it looks like a lot was going on that really
It
involved your students. It's great. And it took a lot of planning, too, to make that all come together, didn't it?
It really did, yes. So the collaboration with orchestra also worked great because of that, all the different, you know, you might have an interpretation of that song just a little bit differently than what the music even had in it. So it was really pretty interesting to get together with that.
Very
The
cool.
next part, yeah. If you have any questions about doing that, I would be more than happy to send you some information. The next part is the understanding, creating, explaining,
absolutely.
producing. It's a stop-motion app that you can get on your iPad, which makes it a lot easier. You can still do it the other way, where you take pretty close to, one of our teachers did this, and she had pretty close to 500 pictures that they put together. This makes it a little bit easier with this app. And the whole thing was, of course, researching first, and they put their groups together with just small bits so that they could get different pieces. They produced a storyboard that went with what they wanted to have in their film, and then the photography part. And then they actually had older students that came into the classroom using the software and helped with the younger students, because the group that did this was actually 3rd and 4th grade.
Great.
So yeah, it wasn't my group, but they're the ones that put it all together. They produced the whole thing and put it together for a parent afternoon. So parents came in to watch all of the stop-motion pictures that had to do with, this was a Lewis and Clark and Oregon Trail film.
And what a wonderful opportunity to bring parents to the school to share that learning with the children. And so the Diary of Anne Frank with your 8th graders, looks like you were getting into some pretty interesting things here too. Tell us about the Kid Blog.
Kid Blog is a great opportunity for parents and teachers and students to be able to communicate with each other on the assignments they might have at school. We used Kid Blog as a sort of our own diary during the time we read Diary of Anne Frank. The story itself was a play version of the Diary of Anne Frank, and so they read it as different characters, and then the students would write in Kid Blog and use that as their as a processing kind of an informational kind of communication. And so I could read it, and it would be posted for others to be able to comment on, and it worked out really great because it gave ideas to the other kids, because they had to read a few of the blogs of other students, and then that way all of the information could kind of be channeled into one source, and it was through Kid Blog. And
Excellent.
teachers can set up the class, and then students can use that as a really great communication tool.
Great, and it looks like this would really be a good way to get them engaged in reading as well. And Enrique has a question for you.
Jan, somebody typed in a question. What about students with special needs?
For Kid Blog?
The use of the iPad in the middle school grades.
Special needs for iPads? I think that the way that I would probably get around that is to do a share if someone actually physically couldn't use it, or if someone was just had some other issues. I would make sure they're partnered up and have somebody right next to them, and not just the same partner all the time, of course, but someone who could help that person. Usually in my class, if somebody has reading issues or some kind of thing like that, the assignment is modified so that works best for that student.
Good.
Does that help?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so here's a little more look at the Anne Frank study.
Right. This was just more information that we used via technology, of course. If you go to the actual website for the Anne Frank House that is in Amsterdam, you can, there's a virtual tour of that, and we use that not just iPad-wise, but that was something that we used on our smart boards. It's an amazing site. It really is. If you have a chance to look at that sometime, even if you're not teaching Anne Frank, it's worth looking at. And then one of the other things that we used was on that same site, there's a link to the Anne Frank tree. And the Anne Frank tree would have been the chestnut tree that Anne Frank looked at when she was looking at out the attic window. And it is really pretty awesome because kids can post poetry or special notes to Anne, basically. And just stick at my screen. My screen isn't playing.
Love it.
And then that way, no, we're good. Then that way they have a chance to kind of have a link to Anne's life, and I just think it's a pretty amazing thing. So there's all kinds of things that you can put on there.
Yeah, great. I think Enrique has a comment or question here.
I have another question from Pat in the Tampa area. Can someone collaborate with a particular web page through the technology?
Can they collaborate on, are you talking about KidBlog?
I'm assuming her question means teacher to teacher to share instructional practices.
I think with KidBlog you can link up with someone else with that technology. I did not do that myself. I'm kind of the Lone Ranger when it comes to middle school English. That's pretty much me. But if someone else from another school, we could collaborate on something, I would love that.
I think this is really a great thing, and perhaps there are people in our audience who might be interested in doing such a collaboration. And if you are, if you would get in touch with us through FAAE, we could begin to explore some of those possibilities. So thanks, Pat, for bringing that idea up to us. Yeah. And now let's quickly take a look at the QR Code Museum. Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah, I promise I'll make it a little faster. So what we did, another one of our projects was Huckleberry Finn, and it is a BYOD, bring your own device, and that has to do with QR codes. If you download a QR code reader on your device, you could do this project. We went through and talked about all the different things, of course, in Huck Finn, culture, slavery, politics, etc. Excuse me. And then talked about those different things, studied those different things, and they had to go through and find links that they could use to explain this information even more. You put a QR code on the information, and then we put them all, we have a black box here, so we put them all around the room on the walls with a little description of what they were trying to teach someone. And then we invited younger kids to come in and be able to scan the codes, get the information on their device, and be able to find out more about what that student had been learning. And so that student would walk around and they would be basically the docents for that.
Love it.
That's really the abbreviated version.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
It was so much fun. It was really fun. There's just one example of a QR code maker, and then you can have QR code readers. So, and usually they're one and the same.
Okay, excellent. Love it. And so we can make our own codes and put them on a poster to help people learn more.
Right. There's an example. There's one of food and one of slavery, and those are just some different examples that someone put up on their banner.
What kind of engagement are you seeing from the students as they're working in this manner with the materials that they're studying?
I think, I think it might be the next one. Yeah, so there's what was really going on. When we put our museum together, you can see the different ages, see the really tiny ones that have come in to see the museum, and the ones with the top, or the farthest right, is one of the students that made one of the posters, and you can see all the QR codes. And they are so engaged, trying to teach the younger students that have come in about the different things that they've learned, and the different pictures that come up after you scan the codes so that they can see the information that they have learned from doing Huck Finn.
Very nice. Now, Enrique has a comment here.
Jan, we're getting some questions again about collaborating on supporting each other as a teacher to create these QR codes. So I think the issue of collaboration keeps coming up, and I think FAAE can just kind of be the mediator of this process.
Love it. Yes.
Yeah,
Isn't it great how when we share our practices, we come to identify some interesting next steps that we can all take. And so here's a little look at Rubistar, the assessment tool that you're using. Why don't you just give us a quick highlight about this?
Sure. Rubistar is a really easy, fun way to be able to have that assessment tool available. And you can plug in anything you want in Rubistar. That's just my kind of go-to device for making my rubrics for my assessment. And so the kids know ahead of time what's expected of them, of course. And that's my thing I do every single time I have an assessment that I need to take care of.
I think you should be feeling the hugs from people in our audience who are saying, wow, she is helping me save time.
Fabulous.
That is great. Well, it has been fabulous to have this opportunity to be with you, Idaho Arts Charter School. And Jackie, you have just assembled such a fabulous faculty. I know that Valerie
I'll give the
and Jan,
phone back to Jackie so you can talk to her.
Okay. I know that Jackie, you've assembled such a great team at your school, and I know that Valerie and Jan are two of your terrific teachers, and that you have lots more. You are probably going to have a flood of visitors from Florida schools coming to find out just what makes Idaho Charter Art School tick. It was great to have all three of you with us today. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you again and hearing more about other examples of the work that you're doing. So thank you.
All right. Well, you're welcome, and we enjoy it, and we'd love to continue to, share in the future. So thanks for asking us.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And now I'm going to share a little bit of FAAE news with our audience. Don't forget that we still have 2 more of the Arts Integration Symposia series, one in Tampa this Saturday. It's not too late to get in on that. Another in Panama City on March 8th. And I know some of you are up in the Panhandle. Hope you'll come over to that area to see us. The Careers in the Arts webinars are going like great guns, and we want you to be a part of this. It's especially for middle and high school students and their teachers. Please go to the FAAE website to get the latest updates on when these webinars will be taking place. And you will get special classroom resources if you participate in these webinars. The Arts Chief Model School, you can see that the applications deadline is now over, but we hope that some of you are among the applicants that we have. Ooh, this Be a Star is a fabulous opportunity that we have because of the Hermitage Artist Retreat on Minnesota Key. 5 Florida teachers will have the opportunity to come to this beautiful artist retreat for 4 weeks, and you will have the chance during that time to work on your own artwork and to be an artist for that glorious 4 weeks. So I hope you'll think about applying for that opportunity. And it's not too soon to participate in the FAAE Leadership Summit, which will be in Orlando, June 18th through 20th. There also will be a Teaching Artist Showcase that will take place on January 20th. So if you're a teaching artist, we'd love to have you as part of that program. So we look forward to seeing you at the Leadership Summit in June. I also want to tell you, don't miss our next webinar in the Arts Integration series. We will have Dr. Stella Sung, who is a living composer. She will be talking about the creation of her first opera, which is a very arts-integrated opera, and I think that you will find it fascinating to hear about the work that she's doing with that. So I do hope that you'll save that date. Thank you all for joining us. We thank the Florida Alliance for Arts Education in collaboration with the State of Florida, the Department of State, Division of Cultural Affairs, and the Florida Council on Arts and Culture. We have had a great time with Idaho Charter School of the Arts tonight. Thank you for being with us. And we'll say goodbye from the Mortgage International Reading Center. Have a great evening. Good night.